G'day folks, this is the situation at the end of the 15th turn. It is the end of the AM turn on the 23rd of December. And really the sky is clear and this is the moment the Americans choose to launch their counterattacks. A limited number of counterattacks, I'll say, but very effective. Primarily into the breaking German morale. So the 10th Armoured Division hit the German lines around here. It's not a breakthrough, but the Germans have spent so long getting to Bastogne, pushing forward, and then the Americans just come along and it's almost like show's over. Very strong defensive line along here and very big offensive potential. You know, these two units here, this stack has a strength of 12. I think it's about 12 here as well. So 24 just in those two stacks, and it's forcing the Germans to defend. And if they're bringing the units around here to defend, then they're not advancing their attack. They can't use those units to advance their attack. In the German turn, they advanced on Saint Hubert, tried to push the Americans out from the flanks, but at the same time, they're having to bring a lot of their forces to defend this western flank here. The centre has gone very, very quiet. So the Germans don't have much driving through here. You can see the 1st SS Panzer Division just pushing a little bit, but not a lot. They're quite scattered. They've basically shifted left and right. So a lot of these forces swung up through here. You can see how the other half of the 1st SS Panzer Division captured Saint Hubert here, whilst the others just kind of moved through these secondary roads, through the woods, pushing the Americans back. The Germans made progress through this little corridor, and again, they continued to push the Americans back, but with no real breakthrough or sort of broad strategic benefit here. The Americans still narrowly hold Hotten, and the other American counterattack was over here with the Second Armoured Division around here. They just arrived, came to the board because the Germans had advanced so close to their reinforcement hex. They were able to move on and then attack almost instantly. And you can see they've disrupted Germans behind the lines here, where I think the DR3 result. But the main thing here is this slow grind for the Germans has just been broken up. By the time they get here, you can see they've already reduced and exhausted. And the Americans come on with their big 10 attack factor units, and it's just demoralizing for the Germans. So this attack here, 14 with just those two units, is, you know, put these two together, it's another 14. It's 28 against these defensive stacks of 9. Gives the Americans that 3-to-1 combat ratio. More to the point, the Germans can't advance through here. It's so difficult to advance. They are not now, in the past, up to this point, the Germans have just been, where can we exploit, where can we target the Americans, where are they weak, where can we open up to, where can we advance down the road. Now, they're forced to think, where can we do that, but where can the Americans counterattack, where can the Americans hit us back, where will it hurt, where will we suffer losses. The Americans got their first D1 result this turn in one of these combats out here. So, it don't cause a step loss to the defending German infantry, but yeah, it's the start of that turn of the tide. More to the point, as I said in the last video, the Germans are a long way from the Meuse. Yeah, and with these American counterattacks commencing, with American air support and so forth, it's looking pretty scary for the Germans. They do have this, again, I keep talking about this numerical superiority. They have the strength, the balance of forces. Well, they have had to this point. But that doesn't mean much if they're not using it to advance fast enough. So basically the story right now is that the Germans have, as I said in my early strategy, the first video I think I said, I want to eliminate these American units to make it difficult for them to defend. It's not just about gaining ground, it's about preventing the long-term ability for the Americans to defend their ground. And that's been successful. It's been very difficult for the Americans to defend. They haven't been able to. They've suffered massive losses, as you can see up in the top right here. But they keep getting reinforcements, and they keep slowing the Germans down. Anytime the Germans get a breakthrough, the Americans have responded, blocked them, prevented that exploitation from being too substantial, and reformed a defensive line. I'll talk more about that later on, but for now, the Germans are certainly feeling scared, a little bit demoralised that they're now facing an opponent who can counterattack and hurt them back. They're not just, not just targeting these weak Americans anymore. The line stretches from the flank over here, runs through. This is the ground the Germans made that the Americans just recaptured, so now it bends back around close to Bastogne. It shifts around here. A bit of back and forth fighting along here. St. Hubert is in German hands. Swings around here, this bit of a bulge. This is the furthest point of German advance along here. Hotton still in American hands. This is a little gap they created through this corridor with all the bridges blown. More bridges being blown this turn by the Americans. A little bit of a pocket here. And then it swings back around, and this ground, the Americans have been here for a while. The Germans were pushing to this gap here to try and force this 7th Armoured Brigade Division, a brigade of the 7th Armoured Division back. And then the American counterattack. And now the Germans are very worried about their health in this area. And then still, this river is holding very well for the Americans. And then way at the top, you can't really see it, but the British have, of course, arrived and are holding their positions along the Meuse. So that brings us to the end of the 15th turn, heading into the PM turn of the 23rd, which is turn 16.